Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Haagen-Dazs.
Welcome to NBA Today. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz and for Malika Andrews. The Cleveland Cavaliers are one win away from their first Eastern Conference Finals since 2018. So here's how they got it done. And stay with me here because it gets nuts as we pick it up in the fourth quarter and in this pivotal Game 5. By the way, Spears, the Cavs were held scoreless for 5 minutes and 4 seconds in the fourth quarter.
Didn't look good.
Did not look
hard
great.
watching that.
A little bit. But you know what? The Pistons capitalized off this scoring drought, regained the lead here. Cade, of course, drawing attention. Get it out to Tobias. Corner three.
Gotta call somebody. Is he gonna call somebody? Oh.
Who is it?
Calling his dad Terrell. He calling his dad
100% it's
Terrell.
Pops. Always on the line. All right. Cavs would come storming back, though.
Young fella's playing great defense, but it doesn't stop the dunk right there.
He got up in the air, and I thought there could be bad things on that turnover.
Yeah, okay, so you saw there the double team on Cade, which, you know, understandable, but they got to it late in this game.
Mobley was big, wasn't he?
Huge. Mobley definitely comes. There's that double team again. Get it out.
Look at James playing defense. Look at James moving his feet.
No.
Okay.
However.
Okay, James Harden, he does play defense.
Sometimes.
Huge. Okay, this is where things get real spicy in the final seconds. If you miss that, Mitchell drives, stripped by Asar Thompson. Then Thompson gets tripped, but no call. Coach very upset about this.
Allen on that trip.
He fouled Asar. It's bad. I mean, clear. He trips him when he's going for a loose ball. In the game situation, you know, that's tough.
So here's what referee Tony Brothers said about that play. During live play, both players were going for the ball, and there was incidental contact with the legs, with no player having possession of the ball.
That's one of the last OG refs. He ain't calling that.
In short,
He's not calling that.
we take it to overtime. Spider doing what he does. Banks that one in. He's back.
You know, so many times the team comes back from a deficit and then loses in overtime because they run out of gas.
Yeah.
Cleveland had some extra.
Massive.
And
Check this out. Struz.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Cade was not ready for him to try to steal there.
All. Harden goes to the line, misses it, but gets his own rebound. Cavs win 117. Here's Harden with Lisa Salters.
You know, we're a fairly new team for the most part, so we got to find out, you know, who we are in the moments, which is it's good for us. So this is our story. This is how we're shaping our story. Great time to win the game. Great time to have a first road win.
Big old win the recovery battle. Win right now. Like that's good. That's the key. Get them at home.
No time to relax.
No time to relax.
And you don't get this out. Like I said earlier, you don't get this opportunity often. You know what I mean? So like do whatever you got to do to be prepared for Game 6.
We got to give one more shot. Out. Max 3.
The Cavaliers go on a 9-0 run to end the fourth quarter and win in overtime. They overcame their largest deficit in the final 3 minutes of a playoff game in the last 30 years. James Harden's team had been 0-59 when trailing by at least 9 points in the final 3 minutes of a playoff game. Crazy.
Wow.
Thank goodness we have two of our senior writers here with me, Ramona Shelburne and Mark Spears. Guys, craziness for sure. This is what we sort of expect a little bit, but not to this degree. Ramona, the Cavs are now one win away from advancing here. What is their mindset going into Game 6?
Well, I think you heard James Harden say some of that, which is we got to win right now.
Yeah.
It's Game 6. When you have an opportunity and you have a team and a chance to eliminate them, you don't take those for granted because he's been in this position before, and when you don't get it done, that becomes now your story, your legacy, something you have to live with. And he's in year 17. He doesn't know how many more of these opportunities he's going to have. And I think that's why he was open to going to Cleveland. You know, he could have vetoed that trade from the Clippers. He's from Los Angeles, but felt like this team gave him a chance to win, and they're right there. And they don't want to let that opportunity slip through, so they got to get it done in Game 6.
No question. I mean, it's quite literally do or die. Mark, you've spent a lot of time with Donovan Mitchell this season. How poetic is it that he is on the cusp of getting to the conference finals, really for the first time in his career?
This is the biggest game of his career for several reasons. I'm not putting extras on it. That's what it is. One, he's never been in the conference finals in his career. Two, he told me at the beginning, a couple weeks ago, that he and James and Joel Embiid have more to prove in the playoffs than anybody. 3, he's from New York.
Right.
Is that a bad accent? He's from New York. The New York Mets put food on his table. He used to be in their clubhouse all the time.
Yeah.
His dad works there.
Right.
He was a high school star in New York. He started the season in New York. He wants to finish the regular season in New York. Playing against the Knicks, his childhood team, went to the Garden as a kid, is a huge deal. And if that's his path to the finals and he's able to do it, I don't know if he could write it any better than that.
Also, the
but
Knicks who
he
had-
has to win first.
Also, the Knicks who had a chance to trade for him and didn't
Oh,
do the last little bit to get that trade done.
talk about it. There's a lot of layers to this one. All right, on the other side of things, the Pistons became the 5th 60-win team to lose 3 straight games in a best-of-7 series after taking a 2-0 lead. 3 of the previous 4 went on to lose the series. So the only exception was the 2006 Pistons against the Cavaliers. Here's Cade on his team trailing in the series.
It's first 4 wins, though. We know that. We've had our back against the wall before. And at the end of the day, I mean, if we can't win a game on the road, how far are we really going to get in the playoffs? How far are we going to get in this league? So we got to go win a game on the road, and that's what we're going to go do.
Yeah, backs against the wall. Mark, how do you expect the Pistons to win 2 in a row?
Well, one, maybe their fans could show up to Cleveland the way the Detroit fans
not
could
far.
show up ride. No,
At all.
They took over the arena. They showed a lot of disrespect in Detroit, but I think Jalen Duren's got to get him back. I mean, we know what Cade is. Jalen's an all-star too. Trajan Langdon, the general manager, and their coach both told me, JB, that they weren't upset about not making a trade for another scorer. They felt like they were fine. They wanted to give their guys a chance. Jalen didn't get much of a chance last game. He only played a little bit in the fourth quarter, didn't play in overtime. He's averaging 10 less points in this series than he did in the regular season, 4 less rebounds. He's got to show up. He has to be big. This may be a bad matchup for him, but he's an all-star, potential superstar in this league, and he has to arrive.
Listen, I think they need some more gravity on the court to create space for everybody. I mean, Cade's doing everything, but there's a reason why they're putting a double team on him every single time. And the reason they don't have this space is Duncan Robinson wasn't able to play. He's had this lower back tightness. It's kind of popped up throughout the series. So you know what gravity is? That's like one of those things coaches talk about. We learned about it in school, right? That's like the gravity of a planet, right? Okay.
The pole.
Yeah, you learned about gravity in
They
school.
go to Stanford like
Oh,
that.
Stop it.
Okay.
No, they stay.
But this is one of my favorite terms, and I can't believe this is really a stat now. Like, how do we
Amazing.
measure gravity? Are we actually doing the physics? Or are we just saying that it quantifies the measure of a player's impact on defensive movement related to expectation from floor spacing? Gravity means people respect you. They got to guard you out by 3. Duncan Robinson is one of the biggest gravitational pulls in the playoffs. So I guess in that graphic, he'd be Mars. Is that right, if we're talking about the planet? Like SGA would be Jupiter, and then Saturn would be Wemby. We're just going in order to plan. They're missing a lot of gravity, and gravity creates space. That's why he's got those contracts with Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons over the years. And from what I'm told, he's gonna try to play in Game 6. It's hard to predict. It's still got to do some work, but there's a chance he can come back in Game 6 with this lower back injury.
Another guy who has some gravitas.
There you go.
Cade Cunningham, Spears. I mean, he has just been quite literally the MVP of this Pistons team throughout the entire season.
Ain't no gravity for him. He on Earth, and he's getting double teamed, and he can't breathe anywhere he goes. Coach Bickerstaff mentioned it after the game. They definitely need Duncan back. And you have somewhat update on him, I think, or?
Yeah, I think there's a chance that he can play in Game 6. He's got it's still to be determined, right? You don't want to say yes yet, but he's going to try.
He needs him. No matter where he goes, he's got this has been a brilliant defensive plan from the Cavaliers. It's not going to change. That's what makes it tough when you don't have a second.
I was waiting for JB to go off on the refs a little bit. Cleveland has shot like 46 more free throws in the last couple.
Tony
games.
Brothers don't play though.
I know, but that's the difference in the last couple games here.
All right,
These are the vet
before
refs
we
now.
go,
These are
we
different
have
refs.
A little bit of trivia for you guys. So here we go. Since the playoff expanded in 2003, can you name the only team to reach the conference finals after losing its first 5 road games in that preseason?
2003. I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics in 08.
I'm a second that.
You would be correct.
Hey,
Not Perk's team.
I covered that team.
Hey, look at
they kept going to
young-
Game 7 every
young
time.
up and coming Perk.
Yeah, they can only win at home.
Look how svelte that brother is, boy.
Hey.
Look how felt.
Seasons, not to mention 4 straight gold medals with Team USA at the Olympics. And who could forget in 2002 when she became the first player in WNBA history to dunk in a game. And we now welcome in the legend, the WNBA legend, Lisa Leslie. It is so great to have you on.
Thank you, MJ. So great to be here with you.
Now, Lisa, just hours ago, you announced that Crypto.com Arena will be unveiling a statue of you on September 20th. Much deserved. What does it mean to join the likes of LA basketball legends?
Oh, it's really an honor. I grew up watching Showtime Lakers, and I know Magic's out there, Kareem's out there, Shaq's out there, and of course the late, great Kobe Bryant is out there. So for me to have this moment in my career, I couldn't be happier, especially to be the first female. When you think about the legacy of Los Angeles, coming out of Inglewood, it started at the Forum, the City of Champions. I knew when Dr. Buss acquired the Los Angeles Sparks that it was about winning championships, and I did the best that I could every single moment representing LA. I'm so happy about our community that they'll have an opportunity to have this statue, to come out and see it.
Lisa, I'm in my 40s, and big me and inner child me are both freaking out about this. You were a key part of the inaugural WNBA season and played in the league's very first game. So as the WNBA celebrates its 30th season, what has it been like for you to witness the league's growth and the evolution over the years?
You know, MJ, honestly, I'm just happy to be alive to see the evolution. When you talk about this CBA that is historical, that these women have just fought for, they were able to honor the past and having sort of a veteran's stipend based on your years for us to get a little bit of money, a little piece of the pie. What they've done for right now, these current women who are playing and the amount of money that they're going to be able to make, as well as the sharing in equity. And then the future, these women that are in high school, young girls that are playing or that are in college will also reap the benefits. So, you know, just hats off to these women who fought. This is a historical moment, and sometimes we can't even realize it because we live in it now, but we'll continue to look back, and other leagues will look back at this moment in time and see how significant it is, and I'm just happy to be a witness to it.
Speaking of this just legendary group of women now in the W, I can't say that and not mention A'ja Wilson, who's the first WNBA player to earn 4 MVP awards. Can you just talk about her impact as a player who paved the path for A'ja and everyone who's alongside her now?
Yeah, I just love it. The timing could not be more perfect, more eyeballs on this game than we've ever had before. And for A'ja to be the most outstanding player in the world and continue to play at that level, I'm so happy for her. She's inspiring to watch the way that she does it, because people don't realize the fact that the WNBA is in the summer. You have to train in the off season to be prepared to stay at that high level, but also continue to add to your game. You can never stay the same. You have to constantly get better, and A'ja Wilson has done that. That's why she's the only 4-time WNBA MVP, surpassing myself and Cheryl Swoops and Lauren Jackson, and it's well deserved. So I'm happy for her, but I'm so happy also just for where the WNBA is right now. The champions, the aces are at the top, but wow, there are so many teams that are coming for them. I can't even imagine what it's like for A'ja to have that target so big on her back right now.
Oh, you know she feeds off of it. She loves the smoke. She said, come and get it if you want it. Now, you made history as the first player to dunk in a WNBA game. We still don't see a lot of dunks in games, even though players are dunking more in warm-ups and practice. We know this. But what do you think it takes to go from dunking in practice to having the confidence to do it in a game?
I think it's just constantly practicing. For me, I remember that was the first time I had written down in my goal sheet that I want to dunk in the WNBA, and I did it that year. But I think in general, I think the play happens so fast. You know, nobody wants to get hurt, obviously. And sometimes you got to also look at height. At 6'5", it's a little bit harder for me at my height than it was for, you know, a Brittany Griner at 6'8" or 6'9". So depending on the height of the woman, I think there's a lot of Malunga dunks, great one-handed, two-handed baseline, and she just has to have the confidence. She actually had a chance the other night I was watching, and she didn't go for it. And I told her specifically, every single time you have an opportunity, go for it. Don't hesitate like I did. So I'm hoping to see more dunks happening in our game, but Dominique Malunga is definitely the player that I think will have the next in-game WNBA game dunk.
Oh, I'm writing it down, Lisa. And if you told her directly, I would imagine she's going to follow suit. It's coming for sure. And as the WNBA season gets ramped up here, we're, of course, coming into the finale of the NBA Finals. Do you have a prediction for what the gentlemen will do and who will take the trophy?
You know, you always look at the teams who get the most rest, and I'm so happy for the New York Knicks, first off, let's just say, because this might be the year that they're able to get over the hump, the fact that they're getting some rest, and hopefully OB can get back out there. But then you also look at OKC, and one thing I can tell you, being a back-to-back champion, the second championship is the easier championship to win than the first one. So the fact that they have that experience, they're getting their rest, they have such a deep bench. You have a coach who's already been prepared in that situation. I think it's going to be OKC's championship to lose. And I say that because New York, depending on home court advantage, depending on how well they can play, everybody's probably rooting for them, even the officials maybe. No, so it's going to be interesting to see if New York can really hold on to it. But OKC, wow, so tough.
The grit this year, especially now in the postseason, has been phenomenal to watch. Lisa, thank you so much for joining the show, and congratulations again on such a well-deserved honor.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing that statue. It better look good, too.
Please. All right, let's stick with the WNBA and go coast to coast and check in on all the action from around the league. In Connecticut, A'ja Wilson scored a season-high 22 points with 11 rebounds, while Kennedy Carter lit up the scoreboard with 27 points as the Aces crushed the Suns. Ramona, what's your take on Vegas so far this season?
Wow, Kennedy Carter has come out of nowhere to be this huge contributor for the Aces, and that's what happens when you have a solid core. You can just bring in role players, you can find somebody, and they can step right in because they have a way of playing, and she's explosive off the bench.
All right, in Toronto, Marina Mabrey and Brittany Sykes led the Tempo to their first win in franchise history. I know, right, Mark?
Oh.
You spoke to them after the game. What did they have to say?
Yeah, I talked to the president of Tempo, Teresa Resch, and she said winning this first game meant everything to the franchise. It was incredibly emotional. It meant a lot to not only the players, the organization, the city, and Canada, and let's go Tempo. Let's see.
In the history books, literally. Okay, now to Los Angeles, where Caitlin Clark notched her 24th career game with at least 20 points and 5 assists as the Fever defeated the Sparks. Ramona, what stood out to you about Caitlin?
Okay, so I was at this game. I'm still waiting for her to make a three.
Ooh.
She missed all 6 of those three-pointers she took.
Shots fired, literally.
No, she got points. She got to the line. They won the game. But she hasn't found her stroke from 3 yet. I think she's 1 for 11 on the year. And it was...
That's the one right there?
Yeah. she's mad, right? She's dealing with some body stuff, though. Her back's hurting a little bit. She's kind of working through it.
All right, in case you missed it, H-Town, stand up! The WNBA and NBA Board of Governors unanimously approved the sale and relocation of the Connecticut Sun to Houston Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta. Making a lot of sense to me as we welcome in our basketball analyst, King McClure, to the show. All right, King, so the Knicks are back in the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season, in large part because of their elite offense. What have you seen from them?
They've completely reconstructed what they do on the offensive side. They've gone away from late shot clock isolation situations with Brunson. We know he's good, but they play to the strengths of their personnel. Right. They're running more of a read and react offense that allows a free-flowing type of mindset that's extremely hard to guard if you're not communicating on the defensive side. And as a result of that, look at this right here. This graphic is crazy. Since 1987, way before I was born, right, they have the most points, scored the most points in the last, through the first 10 games, right? So let me take you to the film room and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's go to it. I want you to notice that they go through Karl-Anthony Towns. He's completely transformed the offense. Extremely simple, but effective. Right, a simple curl screen. No help on the backside because you got a shooter in the corner, and now all of a sudden, Mikal Bridges gets an easy layup. Same thing, right? You can disguise it in a myriad of ways, and right here, out of a closeout, that's too much space. VJ Edgecombe is now having a closeout. Jalen Brunson is too good. One-on-one, he can create, he can get by you, and you are at his mercy, all right? Last play. Because once again, this is high IQ from Jalen Brunson. They get the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns. They fake the handoff. Look at how he switches his angle on the screen. He goes from a down screen to a flex screen, which completely throws off the defense. And now OG Anunoby for the easy flush. I mean, this right here, when you look at what Karl-Anthony Towns has done in the years of 2024 and 2025, through his 34 postseason games, 66 assists. Well, right here in 2026, through 10 games, he has already matched that. He has been phenomenal. And when they play through him, they have had a ton of success, MJ.
You know what we call that? Plátano power. My cousin, not really, but you know, if you're Dominican, you get it. King, thank you so much. Now, a big part of all of this, if the Knicks want to win it all, They have to be healthy. No one knows that better than our senior writer, Vince Goodwill, joining us now, who covers everything Knicks. You got us, Vince. So OG Anunoby was at practice yesterday after missing those past 2 games with a hammy injury. What's his status?
Well, he went through practice yesterday, although he went through the non-contact portion of practice when the Knicks went live. He did individual stuff. He was shooting when the media let us into practice yesterday. He did not have on a practice jersey, so the Knicks might have been trying to give off a little something there, but it all tracks that, MJ, he could and should be available for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. When it begins, it's just a nice little time of rest for the Knicks to get healthy compared to some of these other teams who are battling it out in the second round.
Yeah, to that end, Vince, this is a long layoff for New York, as they may have up to 7, 9 days potentially without a game. What is their mindset with this much time off?
MJ, it's the old rest versus rust battle that the Knicks are going through. That Game 4 against Philly, when they were hitting all those threes that resulted in tying an NBA record, they want to play every day. They want to keep the rhythm going, but Josh Hart told us yesterday, you know what, we need the rest to be able to recoup. He's not just OG, but himself. He's got a wrist injury and some hand stuff that he may need surgery in the offseason. So this period is good for them. And again, whether they go against Cleveland or Detroit in the conference finals, to have the week off to rest their minds and their bodies and to retune some of these offensive principles that King McCoy was just talking about there, it can't be anything but a positive for them.
Huge. All right, Vince, thank you for always keeping us honest in all things Knicks. All right, this season the Knicks were 2-1 against the Cavs and 0-3 against the Pistons. They did, however, beat Detroit in the first round of the playoffs last year. Here's what Josh Hart had to say about the long layoff.
The first series, we had, what, a 4 days break, I think it was. Yeah, that was good enough. Yeah. This right now, I think, what, at least a week, if not 9 days. It's a long time.
Normalize more dogs at the press conferences, okay? I'm bringing Gunny next time. That's all I'm saying. Mark, who would the Knicks rather face here, the Pistons or the Cavs in this conference final?
Well, one thing is curious about that stat. I was wondering, like, how many of those games were against James Harden? Was James Harden? And so I don't know. That being said, the way the Cavaliers are looking right now, I say the Cavaliers are the tougher opponent because they have more offensive weapons. And I see Donovan Mitchell being extra motivated going back home.
I mean, I don't think you want to play the Cavs because of the way they're playing, but Detroit and the Knicks already know what it looks like when you play a 7-game series, and that one was real close last year because their styles are both from physical, rugged teams that push each other around. They usually win with their physicality. So I'd rather play a team that I can be more physical against, and I think that would probably be the Cavs.
For me, it's Detroit because when you look at it, Jalen Durant has not been the Durant that we've known him to be all season. They do not have Duncan Robinson. We don't know the status of, even if he does play, how healthy will he be? So because of the unknowns of Detroit, I think that's the opponent that you really want to go into the series and see.
All right, so to the other team who also swept their series and is watching the rest of the West semis, from their couch, the defending champs OKC, they are 8-0 in these playoffs. Now, SGA posted on Instagram, as only he could.
Yeah.
You know, our boys got some bars. This is what he said, quote, I'm not thinking about how I could have ate more. I'm thinking about how I could have win. Snap,
Drake thing come out tomorrow?
It comes out tomorrow. Look at you, Mark.
Iceman
tomorrow.
And if there is anything we learned from the Lakers series, is his impact runs deeper than just scoring.
Kendrick Lamar, the guy, though.
Let's talk about the double teams. It's like we offensive rebounded early in the series way more than we normally do. A lot of that has to do with them being off our body. They're off our body because they're doubling him. So it's like he's contributing to offensive rebounding. Everybody else on the team is playing an advantage when 2 guys are on him and the ball comes out. So the confidence and the aggressiveness that those guys were able to establish early in the series that certainly showed up for us tonight, that's a result, downstream effect of the double teams.
So Marcus Smart denying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and that opens up something on the opposite side of the floor.
The Lakers were playing a scheme that required a lot of energy. And if you look at the way that we performed in the second halves of games in this series, I think there was a fatigue factor to that. Some of that's our depth, but the other part of that is they were running around defensively. And why are they running around? Because they're double teaming him.
Yep.
The Thunder are odds-on favorites to win the NBA title this year at Peterson. Both made their case to go number one.
Like, I've been number one in the rankings since, ninth grade, and I ain't dropped. So I'm not planning on dropping in the draft.
What makes you different as a potential NBA player?
I would say my discipline. Like, I'm willing to do anything to be the best me possible.
And you know what, I got to ask you, why should a team take you number one?
I feel like I'm the best, and take a chance on me. I won't let you guys down.
All right, we're not at the Combine, so we brought the Combine to us. King McClure spent the week in Chicago watching very closely. So what are your biggest takeaways from watching Darren Peterson this week?
Well, it's the fact that he finally got in front of the camera and we finally get to hear from him. This is what we have been wanting to hear. We have not heard from him all season, no matter what's going on. You saw the antics. You saw everything that has happened throughout his career at Kansas. But we just want to hear from him. We want to hear what he has to say. We know that he's talented. We know that in the big moments he's going to step up and he's going to be ready to perform. But we want to hear from him. And for whatever reason that was, we didn't hear from him much. So to hear him be able to say, I feel like I'm the best. I feel like I should go number one, right? Take a chance on me. I love the confidence because I think that right there exudes star. And I think he has that potential to be that moving forward.
Well, I sat in a room with him for about an hour last week, and I heard a lot from him. And it was interesting because I wasn't as close to it as you were all year, but I followed it enough to go, wow, he really, this is such a mystery. And the thing that I took most from it was he really did not know the answer. The reason he didn't talk is because he didn't know what to say. He did not know what was wrong with his body. He did not know why he had this cramping thing. And the full body cramp that he had at the beginning of the year, I think it scared the heck out of him, man. He told me he thought he was going to die on the table. So when you don't know why this is happening to you, it's hard to give anyone answers, let alone yourself. And so now that he has some clarity, or at least he believes he has clarity, okay, and I think that matters a lot. And one of the things he told me I think is going to matter a lot when we come down to this draft is he wants to play point guard in the NBA. I asked him what a player he admires the most. He said Devin Booker. I said, well, he's not a point guard.
A little contradictory.
Yeah, he's a shooting guard, a combo guard. But if Darren sees himself as a point guard, the two teams that have the top two picks, Washington just traded for Trae Young, and Utah has Keontae George. So does that work together? Does Memphis sitting there at 3, which might be ready to move on from John Morant? Yeah. I know he doesn't want to be a third pick. He really wants to be that number one pick. This group, they've all played each other for so many years. This draft class has been good for a long time. And in high school, they had battles. In AAU, they had battles. And so, like, these rankings that everybody's coming around to right now, this has been going on for 5 years.
Well, George, the star guard for the Jazz, after the draft lottery, he put his arm around DP.
Yeah.
So I think there's some chemistry going on there. Yep. But, you know, I talked to a guy, executive from an NBA team today, and he said, remember that draft in 2021? I'm just read you some names. Cade, Jalen Green, Mobley, Suggs, Giddey, Kuminga, Wagner, Sengun, Jalen Johnson, Austin Reeves undrafted.
Yep.
He told me that this draft is as deep as that one.
Whoa.
So, which is saying a lot about how special this is. You know, the Warriors have that 11th pick, and people wondering, like, hey, can they get in the Giannis mix? And from what I'm being told today from several people, the Warriors like to keep that pick.
Wow.
And I wonder if they could get your Dominican brother from Michigan.
Oh, my God. The Dominican LeBron?
Big Yaks.
The kid,
Please.
Mexican kid. That's going to be the first Mexican kid, Lopez. He'll be sitting there perhaps at 11. 11 also has somebody that always drops that you're surprised about. So, but I'm hearing this is 15 deep, which is very, very strong for any draft.
To that end, King, who do you feel raised their draft stock this week?
You know, I got to take it to Waco, Texas.
Okay.
My Baylor brethren, Cam Carr. Listen, people, Cam Carr is a lottery pick. When you look at what he did at Baylor this year, averaged over 19 points per game, shot close to 50 from the field and 37 from 3. Look at how deep this is. Look at the range in which he shoots the ball. I mean, the elevation on his jumper, when he's straight up and down, it's automatic money, right? You're not contesting that. He measured it at 6'5", with a 7'1" wingspan. At the two-guard position, the next level, I think he has every tool that you need in order to be a star, in order to be a guy that you can constantly rely on. And then look at what he did at the Combine during the scrimmages yesterday. He didn't have to play. He's already guaranteed to be a top 20 pick. He did not have to play, but he said, hey, I'm going to be a competitor. Yeah. I'm going to go out there and show everybody what I can do, right? His biggest focus was the defensive side because that was the biggest knock. But he went out there and showed that he is an NBA player. He looked like a legit NBA guy. And let's not forget, what he did at Baylor this year, he did without a point guard. So when you get to the NBA level and you're playing with NBA-level playmakers and facilitators, Tunde is more of a 3. He's more of a 2-3, right? But he didn't play with a point guard. So when you're playing with NBA-level facilitators and playmakers, complete game changers that will make him look like the star that he is, Cam Carr, people, is a star and he's a lottery pick.
Okay, period. I have one more for you, Kane, because I need your scouting report on one particular prospect. Take a look here. How did this guy do?
Oh,
boy.
Did you even get
one?
Going?
Come on up. Come on up.
So 24 inches on the standing vertical. And I have to say, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but that is 1 inch under Jackson Lindeborg.
I made it through.
Jackson Lindeborg got 25 inches on his standing vert. I got 24.
That's his comp right now.
I'm actually being so.
But how about like at your peak?
Probably about 28, 29, probably.
Okay, period. That's a lot.
36, though.
All right, the Warriors won the 11th pick in the NBA draft lottery on Sunday, which would be the highest pick in the draft since taking Jonathan Kuminga at 7th overall in 2021. Keep that in your notebook. Right now on ESPN.com, a must-read for NBA fans. Ray Thompson spent 11 months with Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, following alongside his season and decision to remain with the Warriors. So now we welcome in the 4-time New York Times bestseller, Ray Thompson. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, MJ. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, right, it was well known that Steve Kerr's contract was up, and the decision on whether he would retire lingered for months. So what was the moment that changed his mind?
I mean, obviously the moment at the play-in game was very visible, but I also think that, there were a lot of factors at work here. I mean, there was loyalty. I think he just didn't feel right leaving if Steph was still there. I think, family things. Nick is on his staff, his son, and his wife certainly likes having the grandkids in town. But I think most of all, I don't think he really has a sense of himself without this job, and I guess more to the point, without a season. Like, I'm not sure he really could picture what his life would be like without the 82.
Well, that's understandable because Steve Kerr has spent over half of his life in the NBA as a coach and as a player, winning 9 total titles. But there were several instances where he thought this season was his last. So what did he reflect on to really decide to keep going?
Well, I certainly didn't realize this until I started reading about him and talking to him. But, the person we think of as Steve Kerr really came into the world on January 20th, 1984, when it was 2 days after his father had been assassinated. His father, it's well known, was the president of the American University at Beirut. Steve was a basically unrecruited bench warmer, averaging less than 6 points a game. Lute Olson admitted later that he was planning to recruit somebody else for Steve's spot, and they put him in that game sort of midway through the first half, and he just went off, and he started making all these shots. And it was his career high to that point. And, the basketball team became one of, if not the most important thing in his life. And so I think one of the things he really had to examine this year is what his life would be like stepping out of a world that he stepped into on January 20th, 1984.
There's so much nuance to his story, right? Going forward, what are his realistic goals for these final 2 seasons as the head coach of the Warriors?
Look, I mean, these guys think they can win. I think they last year or 2 years ago, I think if Steph doesn't get injured, they win that second playoff series. OKC is a lot of trouble, but, these guys are fighters. And then I think the other goal is, to follow in the footsteps of the great Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and hand this thing off to the next guy ready to win 4 more titles with a new coach and new stars and new everyone. So, I think that these are serious competitors, and it matters to all of them how they end the Curry era and begin whatever the next era is, which could start with this draft. You said they had the 11th pick, and I think this is an incredibly interesting time.
Right, real quick before we go, we're talking Warriors here, but that's a Lakers jersey behind you there on the chair, right? What jersey is that?
This is a Kurt Rambis jersey,
Whoa,
and it reminds
phenomenal.
me to not chase, just to be a hard worker and to get down in the trenches. And so it's been on the back of my office. No one's ever noticed that. I forget that it's sitting there, but it's been there for 15 years. It's my Kurt Rambis
Gotta get you
jersey.
some glasses.
Incredible. Some folks thought it was a LeBron jersey, perhaps. Hey, thank you so much, right? We appreciate you. And I encourage everyone to head to ESPN.com for insight, not only into Steve Kerr's coaching decisions, but also the trauma and tribulations he's endured throughout his life.